It's interesting. I think it's called optical illusion. When I stand up here and look out when you're sitting down, I feel like there are so few of us. But when you get up and greet one another, I feel like there are like 300 people in here. Don't know why that is. Interesting. We have been reading through the book of Revelations. We have a couple of more weeks to go, maybe 3 weeks or so to go. Today I want to focus on chapter 5 of Revelation. So if you would find that in your Bible. And if you don't have a Bible, raise your hand and somebody from the back will get you a Bible. I'd like for you to have a Bible in your hand. James, we need a couple of Bibles up here, please. Or Daniel. Wow. Thank you. Particularly this time of the year when we have the opportunity to look back at 2017, I'm sure there are a lot of emotions and thoughts that are going through your minds, all of us. But there's probably one thing that's pretty common to all of us, and that is we want everything to be better. We want everything to be better. We want big things as well as small things in our lives to be better. We want those things that are external in our lives as well as the internal factors in our lives to be better. We want everything to be better. And so there has been for a long time this concept of utopia. Many people think that they want things to be perfect. That would be nice, wouldn't it? For everything to be perfect, inside and out, big things as well as small things to be perfect. How many of you know the Beatles? Nod your head or raise your hand. Or how many of you know the song Imagine? Yes? Yeah. And it was written by John Lennon. And it made me one of the most popular Beatles songs. They obviously had a lot of popular songs, but Imagine might be one of the more popular Beatles songs. And I asked Sodi to sing it for us. No, just kidding. Anyway, I was reminded of that as I was thinking about how all of us, including young and old, Christians and non-Christians, how we want everything to be better. I was reminded of that song. I guess it's in the 70s and 80s. It was really very, very popular. And I remember singing and listening to it and appreciating it. Here are the words. Imagine there's no heaven, no hell below, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for the day. Imagine there's no countries, nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. By the way, John Lennon's got nothing on Sodi. Garbage. But the basic sentiment is this. They say, John Lennon is saying, well, imagine no violence, no trouble, no suffering, no disease, no conflicts, none of these things. And he offers that as a suggestion. Of course, I didn't pay particular attention to this lyrics when I was growing up, and just like everybody, millions of other people, I sang this, I listened to it and liked it. But I didn't know about no religion and no heaven and no hell. That's not right. But that's a general sentiment that many of us like to imagine, like to have in our own lives. And even in our religious lives. We all want better faith. We all want better prayer life. We want everything to be better. I want to know Jesus better than I do now. I want to be able to pray better than I do now. There's so many things that we want. And even in our personal lives, we want improvements. Most of us aren't particularly happy, especially not all the time, about who we are and what we do, especially our weaknesses and the mistakes that we keep making. And I don't know how many of you do this, but as the New Year's coming, many people make New Year's resolutions. I don't. I gave up. But whether you literally make New Year's resolution and say, in 2018, I want these to be my goals. I want to be able to accomplish these things. And whether you write those things down or not, we all have an internal list of things that we are looking for in 2018. We all have personal goals, personal agendas, and personal desires, which is all good and fine. In fact, it may even be helpful to have goals and aspirations as we bring closure to 2017 and look forward to 2018. I'm pretty sure none of us is saying to ourselves, I hope everything just stays the same. Just like 2017. I don't want anything to change. I'm pretty sure that's not where all of us are. All of us want things. All of us want things to be better. All of us want less pain. All of us want more joy and happiness. All of these things. And it would be great, as John Lennon wrote, it would be great to be done away with all the starving children, dying children, all the suffering and pain and lostness and evil, wickedness, all of these things. It would be great to be in a world like that. But what's the problem? It isn't that we don't want these things. It's simply that there is not much you and I could do about them. There's not much you and I could do about all the evil and wickedness that is going around in this world. There's not much you and I can do about all the starving children. There isn't much we can do about all these children dying because of diseases. There isn't much we can do about the economic difficulties or political difficulties. There isn't much you and I can do about ISIS and all the terrorism that's going on. Basically, whether it's huge global issues or even simple issues that you and I deal with every day, there really isn't much that you and I can do about them. That's sad. Because we have these beautiful aspirations and desires for ourselves, for our friends, our family, for the world even. But there isn't much that you and I can do about it. Some of these issues are just too big. Some of these conflicts and problems that are prominent in the world, we don't even understand. We don't even know. We can't even begin to imagine where to start. Never mind the fact that we don't have much power or ability to do much about them. Even if we wanted to, we don't even know. We're totally clueless as to where to begin to become even the smallest contribution to eradicating some of these problems and issues that the world faces all the time. Clueless. But at the same time, we realize that this generation has more information, more resources than any generation before. There's been such tremendous advances in technology and science and medicine and all of these things, but we're all back to square one. We're back to zero all the time, because even with all the advancements that we are able to witness and enjoy, there isn't much we could do about these problems and issues. And we don't even know where to begin to find solutions for these things. I believe that your generation is the smartest generation up to this point. Of course, your children will be even smarter than that. And even then, we're still clueless as to how to address some of these problems and issues. Big issues, world issues, as well as our own issues as well. We're pretty clueless as to how to deal with some of the things that we have to deal with even in our own lives. But obviously there is a solution. And I want to share that solution with you by looking at chapter 5 of Revelation. Chapter 5 of Revelation begins as follows. I saw in the right hand of him who was seated on the throne a scroll written on the inside and on the back, closed and sealed with 7 seals. Just briefly, this is God's message, God's plan that is being given in this particular time. And it's a really important message. But unfortunately, it tells us that it is closed and sealed with 7 seals. And in verse 2, it tells us, and I saw a strong angel announcing with a loud voice, who is worthy, having the authority and virtue to open the scroll and to break its seal? Verse 3, and no one in heaven or on earth, or under the earth, in Hades, the realm of the dead, was able to open the scroll or look into it. Verse 4, and I began to weep greatly because no one was found worthy to open the scroll or look into it. God delivers His heart, His message, His plan, but there's no one who is capable of opening the closed and sealed scroll. How tragic is that? It's as if all of us have been given this beautiful Bible with so much truth and so much guidance and everything that we need, and imagine if we were not able to open this. All we can do is say, I could imagine what's in there. Treasures of knowledge and wisdom and guidance and guidelines and literally everything that I could possibly need to live life according to God's plan and His purpose. But I can't open it, so I can't discover the treasure that is there. This is what's going on here. And so, finding that out, John weeps. And he's sad. He's overwhelmed with sadness because here it is, the treasure, the most precious thing, yet cannot open it and begin to understand it. In the verse 5, then one of the 24 elders said to me, stop weeping, look closely. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome and conquered. He can't open the scroll and break its 7 seals. But fortunately, even though no one else can, and even though Apostle John is saddened by the fact that no one can open the seal or the scroll, John is told that there is one. Stop weeping. You don't have to worry. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome and conquered. He has overcome and conquered. He can open the scroll and break its 7th seal. In other words, Jesus is the solution. He has the authority. He has the power. He has all the knowledge, everything that is required to be able to open the scroll, open the seal and open the scroll to reveal to us God's heart, His perfect plan. Absolutely everything that you and I need. On the one hand, we have this huge collection of problems and sufferings and difficulties and challenges and wickedness and evil. But on the other hand, even though you and I individually or collectively do not have the ability or the power or the authority to know what the solution is, here it is. On the other hand, we have Jesus. And Jesus is the answer. He is the solution to all the problems. Our personal problems, however small those may be, or the global problems which we have absolutely no idea, no clue as to how to begin to even pray about some of these things. Some of us don't even know how to pray about these things. We don't understand them. But the Word of God tells us that despite all the challenges, despite all the ignorance of all of us put together, Jesus is the answer. Jesus is the answer to all the huge and impossible problems that we face today and we will face in the future. But Jesus is also the answer to all of us, to all of you, to all of us, for whatever issues, whatever difficulties, whatever challenges that we may be facing now or in the future. Jesus not only has the power and the ability, but He has overcome. He has conquered. He has the power, authority, and He's all-knowing. And through His submission, through humility, and having been slain and become the sacrifice of atonement, He has already taken care of everything for us personally as well as globally, no matter how huge, no matter how difficult, no matter how impossible those things may be. In other words, we need Jesus. It's as simple as that. Even with all of these incredible, impossible situations and circumstances globally, and those things that bring us pain and suffering into our own lives, whatever our struggles, and there are many struggles, physical, emotional, relational, and even spiritual, we need Jesus. These are some of the things that I read about Jesus. One writer said, He lived the righteous life as no one else was or is able to do. He obeyed God as God deserves and demands. This is Jesus. He died and took the punishment for us. And through all of that, He makes available righteousness to us, those who believe that only He can provide. And this is not just for our own personal salvation. Another author wrote, because of Jesus and who He is, there is hope for the world. If you ask people who do not know Jesus, I don't know if any of them could say, but there is hope for this world. Do you think? I'm not sure. I doubt it. But whatever hope they think they have would be just fleeting hope, undependable hope. Another person wrote, by death and resurrection, Jesus has taken control of history. That's pretty big. He seized destiny. Not just his own destiny, which we understand, but all destinies. All destinies. Jesus ensures that the universe will have meaning. Can the outside world say that? He will judge the wicked and vindicate those who trust him. He will right the wrongs, heal those who are hurting, wipe away tears. We need Jesus. Without Jesus, there is no hope. That's big, isn't it? That is big. That is huge. While all of us are pretty much stuck in the petty details of our lives, we fail to understand how big the promise of Jesus Christ is. That the fact of Jesus having died and resurrected has such huge ramifications than how it applies to us individually. Huge. In other words, he is bigger than anything else, bigger than everything else put together. Somebody else wrote, Jesus is the central figure in history of humanity. Without question, the most important person who has ever lived. And the Bible describes him as King of Kings, Lord of Lords. The way, the truth, and the life. And because of all of those things and so much more, he controls your destiny. He controls our destiny. That Jesus is so huge that he controls the destiny of every individual. And the more we recognize Jesus for who he is, bigger than anything else, bigger than everything put together, we will be able to respond to him the way he deserves to be responded. And so, after Jesus reveals these things to Apostle Paul, this is his response beginning of verse 8. Look at verse 8 together. And when he had taken the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each one holding a harp and golden bowls of fragrant incense, which are the prayers of the saints. Verse 9, and they sang a new song, a glorious redemption saying, worthy and deserving are you to take the scroll and to break its seal, for you were slain, and with your blood you purchased people for God from every tribe and language and people and nation. You have made them to be a kingdom of royal subjects and priests to our God, and they will reign on the earth. The more we recognize who Jesus Christ is and how huge he is, how so much bigger he is than anything and everything put together, our proper response is to humbly worship him. And that's what is being revealed here. Then again in verse 11, then I looked and I heard the voice of many angels around the throne, and the voice of the living creatures and the elders, and they number myriads of myriads and thousands of thousands, saying in a loud voice, worthy and deserving is the Lamb that was sacrificed to receive power and riches and wisdom and might and honor and glory and blessing. And I heard every created thing that is in heaven or on earth or under the earth, in Hades, the realm of the dead, or on the sea, and everything that is in them, saying together, to him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb be blessing and honor and glory and dominion forever and ever. He deserves to be worshipped. He is worthy to be worshipped. He is trustworthy. He is good. And He is in control over your life, over everything. The greater our understanding of who Jesus Christ is, less worry, less anxiety, less stress we will have. Less we will spend our minds and hearts and our lives worried about petty things in our lives and in our world. Instead, we will be focused and wanting to worship Him, honor Him, magnify Him, bring glory to Him. That's our responsibility. That's our proper response. And perhaps the contrary is also true. If we have trouble worshiping Him, not just on Sundays, but every day of our lives, if we are not bringing honor to Him, if He's not glorified through our lives, perhaps it's because we don't know Him as well as we need to know Him. That should be our pursuit. Not easier life, not improvements over our circumstances, not all these other petty things that we are so focused on, but it's really about worshiping Him and understanding how worthy and how deserving He is. How He single-handedly is the answer to everything. And He's deserving of our most profound, passionate, and humble worship every day of our lives with our entire being.